Efento pulse counters are designed to work with devices equipped with a relay pulse output. This means that each short-circuiting of the appropriate wire pairs results in counting a pulse. As a result, the Efento pulse counter is not limited to working with water meters or electricity meters. It can also be used, for example, to count the number of state changes of a valve or a garage door relay. It is important to remember that the Efento pulse counter can count pulses with a frequency of no more than 40 Hz. To set up the device, remove the 4 screws from the bottom of the casing. Ensure that the sensor is turned off. Remove the SIM card from the frame and insert it into the slot on the sensor. Then, turn on the device by sliding the switch to the on position. Blinking LEDs indicate that the device is starting up. Close the casing lid and secure it with 4 screws. The standard Efento pulse counter is equipped with 3 individual counting channels, allowing connection to up to 3 different devices. Once one of the channels is correctly connected, the Efento sensor will begin counting pulses generated by the relay output of the measuring device. In this example, the pulse-generating device is an electricity meter. As the state of the electricity consumption meter changes, the number of pulses counted by the Efento sensor increases. The refresh rate of the pulse counter displayed in the application depends on the measurement period settings. By default, it is set to 5 minutes, meaning the counted pulses will be updated every 5 minutes. The configuration of the pulse counter is done using the Efento mobile app. Upon startup, the sensor will report an error because manual calibration is required for the device to function correctly. This involves setting the initial value of the counter, from which the device will start counting pulses. Connect to the sensor via the mobile app, open the menu in the top right corner of the screen, and navigate to Advanced, Calibration, and then Manual Calibration. Select the channel you wish to calibrate, enter the initial value, and confirm the change. This process must be done individually for each of the 3 channels. After successfully completing the manual calibration, return to the list of nearby devices and wait for 1 measurement period. The calibration notification will disappear, and the initial values for the respective channels will be displayed on the right side. If the manual calibration was successful, you can proceed to adjust the device settings according to your preferences. Reconnect to the sensor and go to the calibration window. The adjustable parameters are: maximum pulse duration defines the maximum duration of a pulse. If the counter receives a pulse that exceeds the time set in this parameter, it will display an error. This parameter helps monitor the correctness of pulses generated by, among others, utility meters equipped with pulse outputs of defined pulse durations. By default, the pulse duration control is disabled, and the sensor treats every pulse as acceptable. Debounce time. This parameter helps prevent incorrect pulse counting in the event of electrical interference caused by factors such as machines located near the pulse counter installation. Excessively long wires connecting the pulse-generating element to the sensor, or the commonly known phenomenon of contact bounce. Setting the bounce time enables the blocking of pulse counting from the moment the input state changes, for the duration specified in this parameter. Reverse logic. Enabling this option will change the pulse counting from rising edge to falling edge. Accumulation mode. The pulse counter can operate in one of 2 modes. Enabled. The counter counts all pulses from the moment the device is turned on and the initial calibration point is set. Once the maximum value is reached, the device will restart counting from 0. This mode is enabled by default. Disabled. The counter resets its value after each measurement period. Conversion ratio allows for multiplying or dividing the number of pulses received at the sensor's input. For example, if you are interested in counting kilowatt hours and you know that the electricity meter generates 100 pulses per kilowatt hour, you can set the conversion factor to divide by 100. This way, the pulse counter reading will increase only after receiving 100 pulses at the counting input. It is important to note that the configuration is done individually for each of the 3 available measurement channels. Therefore, if you want all channels to have the same settings, repeat the process for the second and third channels. After successfully configuring the pulse counter settings, the device is ready to begin measurements. In order for the NB-IoT sensor to send data to the Efento Cloud platform, it must be correctly synchronized with your organization. To do this, go to the Cloud section in the mobile app and log into your account. Then open Organization Settings and press the Add Sensors button located at the bottom of the screen. If you do not have an available sensor license and SIM card on your platform, enter the activation key here. When adding a new device, pay attention to what type of sensor you have. In this case, we are adding an NB-IoT pulse counter, which requires a SIM card for proper network connection. In the next window, select the serial number of the device you want to add to your Efento Cloud organization from the list, and then after successfully reading the data from the SIM card, confirm your willingness to activate it by entering the 4-digit PIN 2 code, located on the plastic frame of the card. If the PIN code matches, the device will read the APN and PLMN settings of the SIM card and then allow you to edit them. It is recommended to use automatic SIM card settings for both parameters. If the previous steps were successful, the process of configuring the SIM card and synchronizing the device with Efento Cloud will begin. After successfully connecting the sensor to the platform, assign a name to the new device and select the location where it should be placed. When adding a device to Efento Cloud, you have the option to activate channel formulas that allow you to convert the measurement values received by the platform. Remember that this is only possible during the initial addition of the sensor to the Efento Cloud platform. If you want to use this functionality, select the channel redefinition option and choose the target type for each channel. Since an electricity meter is used in our case, the selected target type is energy consumption. After saving the changes, it will be necessary to set up the channel formulas. You can select an existing formula or create a new one, based on which the platform will calculate the number of pulses received from the sensor. When creating a new formula, you need to assign it a name. Check if the redefinition types are aligned with the assumptions and set the formula's permissions. A public formula allows for later editing by users with access to the formula manager, while a private formula can only be edited by the user who created it. In the second stage of creating a new formula, you need to define segments, which are logical conditions along with formulas that are meant to convert the values sent by the sensor. After pressing the Add Segment button, you should enter a new formula that will be used to convert the measurements, along with the corresponding logical condition if necessary. The conversion formula must be mathematically correct and limited to 32 characters. To reference the value measured by the sensor, use the special character X. For example, doubling the value sent by the sensor can be achieved with the formula X times 2. In the formula segment, you can use basic special characters such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, grouping expressions. In our case, every 10 pulses generated by the electricity meter corresponds to 1 watt-hour of consumed electricity. Therefore, the applied formula is the count of pulses X divided by 10. In this way, you can add up to 6 segments for each formula. If more than one logical condition is met, the segment higher on the list will be selected for the final calculation of the values measured by the sensor. A measurement that does not meet any of the segment conditions will result in a channel error. Once the formulas for the channels have been configured, save the changes. Congratulations! The device has been successfully configured and added to the Efento Cloud organization. The first measurements will be displayed on the platform during the next communication between the sensor and the server.